This is 3 News Daily.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Daily on this Wednesday, March 15th. I'm Stephanie Haney here with your top stories. And we start today in Cleveland, where 4 people stole a car and one of them shot a Cleveland police officer. It happened shortly after 6 last night near East 30th and Cedar Avenue. 2 detectives stopped what they believed was a stolen Kia. That's when 4 men jumped out of the car and one of them fired 4 shots, hitting one of the detectives in the arm and thigh. Meanwhile, as more officers rushed to the scene, they hit a car a woman was driving while she was on her way to work. Cleveland Police Chief Wayne Drummond spoke shortly after the incident.
There was no one struck but our officers. Our officers did not fire their weapons. There was 2 of our officers on scene and neither officer fired their weapon.
Mayor Justin Bibb also commented on the situation, saying in part, quote, "While my main concern tonight is for the well-being of the officer and his family, I must also once again condemn the gun violence we are seeing in our city. Police are still looking for the men involved in yesterday's shooting." Now this afternoon, a former attorney will be sentenced for stealing over $1 million from 21 of her clients with disabilities. Dorothea Kingsbury stole the money between 2012 and 2018, transferring the money from their special accounts into her business and personal accounts without their knowledge or consent. Also, Kingsbury didn't file state income tax returns during that time period. A social worker reported this to Mentor Police back in 2017. Kingsbury pleaded guilty to theft and money laundering. Coming up tonight, we'll have more on how this happened. All right, now to the latest on the toxic train derailment in East Palestine. The Ohio EPA says more than 6 million gallons of liquid wastewater has been hauled out of the area. Right now, 28,000 tons of excavated soil is ready and waiting to be removed from the site. Also, independent contractors have been hired to pressure wash underground culverts, which is supposed to help get rid of that lingering chemical smell in some areas. Governor Mike DeWine's office says samples from private water systems continue to show no harmful levels of contaminants. And the state of Ohio is now suing Norfolk Southern for the damage caused by last month's derailment. Attorney General Dave Yost filed a 58-count complaint yesterday accusing the railroad of numerous violations to state and federal environmental laws, as well as overall negligence. The lawsuit aims to keep Norfolk Southern from disposing of contaminated waste on site and force the company to conduct future soil and water monitoring. All right, here's a heads up for Honda drivers. Honda is recalling 500,000 vehicles in the U.S. and Canada, saying the front seatbelts may not latch properly. The recall includes the CR-V made between 2017 and 2020, 2018 and 2019 Accords, 2018 through 2020 Odysseys, the 2019 Insight, and the 2019 and 2020 Acura RDX. Honda says that the surface coating on the channel for the buckle can deteriorate over time, causing the buckle to stop latching. So if you own one of these vehicles, Honda says it will send out a letter next month explaining next steps. All right, moving on to our next story. The people behind a restaurant in Chardon are speaking out after facing criticism for hosting a drag brunch for charity. Our Marissa Sines has that story for us.
It's the first time in 5 years owner Paul Mendolero will drag folks in for a show at his Element 41 restaurant in Chardon Square.
One of my employees always wanted me to do like a drag show night.
As supporters of the LGBTQ community, Mendolero says he knows criticism, but none like what he's facing now.
It's gotten to the point where it's kind of snowballing.
In partnership with the Community Church of Chesterland, a drag brunch followed by a story reading is on the books for April 1st. Mendolero says it didn't take long for the critics to start dialing the phone.
They're calling us pedophiles, and it's getting really crazy where I have to turn my phone off at night. We're having people saying that they're coming to protest, 100 people strong with concealed carry permits, and they want to save the children.
This won't be the first protest of its kind. Over the weekend in Wadsworth, 2 people were arrested for disorderly conduct, and a pepper spray gun was found after a drag storytime reading in Memorial Park.
There were groups that came from all across the state. While people do have the right to protest, people do have the right to speech, there is that line that you can cross where it turns into an actual crime.
For Mendolero, he says the censure won't stop him.
One thing that we won't shy away from is, our ties with the LGBTQ community.
Now, 3 News did reach out to the Chardon Police Department and the church, but have not heard back. The Geauga County Sheriff tells us that they will help if local police ask for it and emphasize that any protest should be a peaceful protest. Now, the Cleveland Board of Education is asking the community for help in the search for the next CEO of Cleveland schools. Between 12 and 15 candidates for the CEO position will be interviewed in the next few weeks, and then that list will be narrowed down to 2 or 3 finalists. So now the school board is looking for a panel to interview the finalists. They want the panel to include everyone from students and parents to school employees. Those nominations start today, and those will be open for 3 weeks. All right, now to a heartwarming story of community for you. We followed Dee Kletke, a woman with Down syndrome, as she showed us her home away from home, Maggie's and More. It's a coffee and donut shop that allows people with developmental disabilities the chance to thrive in a working environment. And owner Abra Schweikert tells us what made her start this all back in 2019.
I think as I went through my career as a teacher, I was starting to see them not accepted in society, and their potential wasn't ever thought of. So I had a plight as a teacher to make it known within my school building their capabilities, and then I really wanted to give them a future outside of my school setting.
Now, Abra tells us that she hopes customers will spread the word about her amazing employees and that will lead to more opportunities for them outside of the shop. All right, we've got some breaking NFL news today. There's been a lot of conversation about what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Will he continue his career with the Packers or not? So we know at the end of last season, he went on a 4-day darkness retreat where he was in complete isolation and was hoping to have a profound experience. Well, he said he went into that 4-day retreat with a 90% certainty that he was going to retire, end his football career. Well, that's not what he wants to do now. He said today on the Pat McAfee Show that he intends to play for the New York Jets in 2023. He said that he made that decision on Friday, and he's not holding up a trade, but it's still being worked out between the Packers and the Jets. That's according to sources. So here's a quote from Rodgers. He said, "I made it clear my intention was to play and to play for the New York Jets, and I haven't been holding anything up. It's the compensation that the Packers are trying to get. The Packers want to move on and have let me know that in so many words." So we've seen a lot of social media buzz about people that play for the Jets trying to get him to the team. He says that's what he wants to do. We will keep you posted as we learn more. Now, it's almost orange barrel season here in Northeast Ohio, and the Ohio Department of Transportation released a list of their big projects in their 2023 kickoff this morning. In Cuyahoga County, ODOT is widening I-77 between the Ohio Turnpike and Route 21 and adding new ramps to I-77 north and south. They're planning to wrap up the Valley View Bridge project by Memorial Day, and also will be reworking I-480 west near Cleveland Hopkins to help with those rush hour backups. The goal of the press conference was to highlight these big projects, but also stress how to ensure the safety of construction workers.
Safety for our workers, our consultants, our contractors is paramount. I mean, if you see flashing lights, please move over, slow down.
Let's protect those people doing their jobs. Now, for a full look into what projects you can expect in your area, you can check out our story on WKYC.com. And if orange barrels aren't a sign of spring, the Hinckley buzzards sure are. Every March 15th, dating all the way back to 1957, Hinckley residents have welcomed the buzzards back to their roost on the Hinckley Reservation in the Cleveland Metro Parks. So check this out. We were there this morning when the first buzzard appeared around 9:30. So why Hinckley? Well, it is all about the Werdens and Whips ledges. Apparently there are a lot of rocky outcrops that the turkey vultures love to use. And that brings us to our question of the day. With those buzzards back at Hinckley Reservation, we want to know, what's your favorite sign of spring? Post your comment to the WKYC Facebook page and we'll talk about it during What's New at 4 o'clock. I always love to see the little clovers blossoming. That's probably my favorite when we see that new life every spring. All right, thanks for being with us for today's edition of 3 News Daily. Everyone have a wonderful day. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more of your top stories from around Northeast Ohio.